And so the church has always played, historically at least in our country, a critical role in speaking out about faith and politics and how faith should shape our politics. Now, some of you might say, well, what about the separation of church and state, Pastor G, and shouldn't churches stay out of politics? Well, that phrase, separation of church and state, is not found anywhere in our founding documents. Not the Declaration of Independence, not the Bill of Rights, not the Constitution. Where did it come from?
Well, welcome everybody. We're glad that you're here. This is a special edition of Faith and Freedom Fridays on why to vote early. And then we're going to also go over the CNN town hall with Kamala Harris. So welcome so much. Stay tuned. We have a great show for you. And we'll get started here real soon.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Hi. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Shireen. Thank you, Rosie, our moderators, and everyone, Lisa, for joining. Thank you.
Welcome to Faith and Freedom Fridays, where we explore the godly way to vote with faith and integrity. Here are your hosts, LaTanya Evans and Kathy Ryan.
Hello.
Hi there. So let's start it off. I mean, last time we left is when Kamala Harris was insulting Christians. And I guess that's even gotten more blown up in the Christian world, in the news world, in the conservative world of how she treated us. And then Sunday she goes to a black church and try to redeem herself.
Yes. And, I don't know if we have that clip or not, maybe, but we definitely wanted to focus on tonight. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You got color down at the bottom, right?
Well, after I got sick last year, I was in the hospital because of the bowel perforation and everything. I'm sensitive to stuff, so I can't get my hair dyed anymore. This is the last of my hair dye.
Oh, okay.
I've been growing my hair out for a year and a half.
Okay. Yes, it is beautiful. I don't know. I mean, I laughed just now. I guess, yeah, but okay.
I guess it's the way the light's hitting it. You can see it, but
I think so. I think so. Okay, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But so I have a clip here that I want to show, and it is about Kamala and at the CNN debacle, I'm calling it, where somebody asked her about faith, and so she goes into talking about it. And so let's get to that. Let me go to it. Okay, I'm probably gonna I don't think that's what I needed to do. Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, there we go.
But I just called him. I needed that spiritual kind of connection. I needed that advice. I needed a prayer. And
okay, so Kamala Harris has just done a town hall event with CNN, and this is a big deal because she has finally been questioned about her faith after the fact that Christians have been really upset with her, and after the fact that Christian protesters have kicked out of her event. Again, this is the first time a major news outlet who's more left-leaning is now pressing her on her faith. I want you to remember this and listen to her answer.
but I just called him. I needed that spiritual kind of I- action. I needed that advice. I needed a prayer. And there's a part of the scripture that talks about Esther and a time such as this, and that's what we talked about. And it was very comforting. And
Do you
and
pray every day?
I do pray every day.
Hmm.
I do pray every day, sometimes twice a day. I grew up. So we grew up a little neighborhood church in Oakland, 23rd Avenue Church of God, and I was raised to believe in a loving God, to believe your faith is a verb. You know, you live your faith, and
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm learning this.
That's okay.
So I just want to stop it right there for a moment. And so I'm taking her words are. So she says that, especially this last part, that living your faith is a verb. I'm assuming, she's meaning action. So,
Which is
um,
true. Faith is an action
that-
word.
and that is true. But this is where the thing is. Um, so, and and how am I also, because I was just sitting here and I was thinking, like she said, she prays every day, twice a day, and I'm not her heart, but her very radical views that are totally against what the God that she says she believes in, something is just not right with this. And it's
Mhm.
just not, because I'm like, you said that you believe in a loving God, okay? And that seems to be a lot where most people go to, oh, a loving God. God is love. Yes, he is. But God is also a God of judgment. And also there's the other part to God too. But then
Mhm.
going back to that, and she says, I pray, but we don't hear anything about she reads Bible. What about that?
Right.
Because if she reads the Bible, she's going to read and she's going to see that what she is pushing is so opposite
Right.
of what the Bible says. And
Mhm.
so that's the other thing. And I even want to just say this, even a challenge to us. It's easy for us to pick out, and we are like, wow, look at her. How can she say that? And yet she's saying she's a person of faith, all of that. It makes what came to me was that, wow, I can actually learn from that, because even, because what about, in other words, that helps us as true believers to even search our hearts about some things.
Mhm.
I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but it's like we see, like, okay, here she's saying what she's saying, and yet her views and what she stands for is so opposite of the scripture. And we're like, are you kidding me? And it's like, so even as us as believers, we have to also look at ourselves and be like, wow, it may not be that, but it could be other things. And so we just need to, like, at least I can say, I'll just say for me, it's like, wow, God, okay, I may not like any of that with with that, but then I do this, and Lord help me, and so that more of the way I live my life, it needs to line up with what your word says. So
Absolutely.
that's really just what I'm saying is that, I mean, if she, so yeah, so let's continue with what Miss Kamala has to say.
And that the way that one should do that is that your work and your life's work should be to think about how you can serve in a way that is uplifting other people, that is about caring for other people. And that guides a lot of how I think about my work and what is important.
Okay, so do you realize the irony of her statements as a Christian? She is saying you need to live out your faith. It's a verb. But the irony behind this is that the two Christian protesters who showed up to her event, were they not living out her faith? Were they not doing a verb? And yet she had the audacity to kick them out of her event, wave goodbye, and even mock them and say, you're at the wrong rally. You need to go to one down the road. Now, what's interesting is this was her opportunity, and it might be her last opportunity to get on the main stage and address this issue. But of course, CNN is not going to talk about it, and other major publications who are left-leaning have yet to talk about it. It keeps getting brought up in all the Christian circles, yet Kamala does not talk about it and doesn't want to address it. And if you think I'm being harsh, Kamala Harris was literally given a layup by CNN to address the entire situation. Apologize, move on. I'm being very honest with you. If Kamala Harris looked at the camera and addressed what she did and said, look, I am sorry, it was a mistake. Do you know how many Christians would turn back to Kamala? Christians love that thing. And also, traditionally speaking, Americans love when you own up to your mistakes. That's actually pretty American to do, to be like, you know what, we forgive you, forget about it. All Americans make mistakes, right? But look at this clip and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know, you make lots of mistakes. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and help answer a question.
Okay, so if you are still watching this video and are able to bear through the
Has she ever parented a child? No, she doesn't have any children. Now she's trying to appeal to parents? Come on.
And you said you've not watched this, right, Kay?
No, I haven't watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, you're getting real time. Yeah. I thought that was just the fact that it took so long for her to even just think about it. Like if some, you know, I don't know.
I don't know either. I
Yeah.
you know, she's doing all this stuff now because she's plummeting in the polls. She is on a free fall right now, especially
Exactly.
after the get out of my rally, get out, you're in the wrong rally thing, with the Christians. She alienated 90 million people.
Yes.
And then she goes to a Baptist church in Georgia on Sunday and gives a message there, and where another Christian gets kicked out, which I don't even know what that is, but I do have the video here from the same guy that you're showing yours.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
you know, it's just, it's hypocritical, you know, it's absolutely hypocritical. So what has come out this week, because they're trying to take your eyes off of what she did, is now they're coming back with the stuff that Hitler, that Trump said he wanted to be like Hitler.
Yes, they're desperate.
So the audacity of all that. And then, there was the Atlantic posted the article, I guess it was, that Trump had said this, and some General Kelly, I think it is, Kelly Green, I think is who it is. I'm not for sure, but one of the two generals that were, I know General Milley was against Trump. In fact, that man possibly has committed treason for being in contact with China. And he was still under Biden, General Milley, and he was one of the generals under the Afghanistan debacle. And then all of a sudden he retires. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But some unnamed source said that it was in the room when Trump actually said that he needed more generals that would be like Hitler and that they would follow every order or something stupid like that.
Yes. Let's get back to her. Let me.
These interview questions. Again, that was a very non-answer. I even saw all over the internet, this is one of the worst answers ever given during an interview or a town hall, because she sort of says yes, but then says, you know what, I don't really make mistakes anyway, because if I make a mistake, that's a mistake. A very odd answer. But I want to continue in the video and talk about another issue that, again, sort of ties into all of this.
First wins, it will be because the church handed her the presidency.
Right.
It is the only missing ingredient that we see right now. I do GOTV for a living. Guess what? Young people are coming our way in a historic way. Young men are most conservative they've been in 50 years. So you can't say, oh, it's all a bunch of those college kids at I was in Boulder a couple weeks ago. We had thousands of kids show up. So it's not their fault. Guess who else is rising up? The muscular class, the working class of this country, the truck drivers, the electricians, the welders, the police officers. So you can't blame them. We have moms that go to school board meetings that are rising up in numbers. So you can't blame them. What I'm getting at is the missing ingredient is what we've always taken for granted, is that the church actually cared about the nation. We are pace for a 13% decrease of Christian turnout. This is a 5-alarm fire in the clearest terms. There is this spirit of pomposity and righteousness that some pastors have decided to invoke, where they will say, I am a Christian and I'm a believer in Jesus. Donald Trump is a sinner and I can't vote for a sinner.
Okay, so truth be told, I was never really the biggest Charlie Kirk fan up until I saw what he was actually all about, what he stood for, and the fact that he actually talks about and calls out, look, as Christians, you are handing over this debate to whoever presidency when you say I'm not going to vote for them or for them. This is like the one time in history where Christians actually do have a voice. And look, for as much as Christians are being persecuted around the world, when it comes to the United States, and Charlie Kirk, I think, has talked about this, you can vote and you really are choosing whether you want to be persecuted. So again, I think it is interesting that Charlie Kirk is bringing up this data point that as Christians, you really need to be voting and you need to be out there. Otherwise, you are kind of handing out the election if you're not at the booth and voting.
That is so true. And Charlie Kirk has been on a crusade to get the young people, the college students, and he's done a great job at it. I think very highly of Charlie Kirk. I think he is an amazing man of God to go out there and talk to these kids that are so indoctrinated, that are so brainwashed. And he doesn't hold back.
Yeah. But you know what, something he said that I kind of grabbed that I thought was very interesting, and you all in the chat, tell me, what did you catch this, or what do you think, as well as those who are listening, who are viewing. He said, our brothers and sisters in other countries and other places, they are actually being persecuted for their faith, and in some ways, in this election, where it is like he was saying, this is a unique election where our vote really will count. So we are, I mean, nobody wants to be persecuted, but it's like you're choosing, people who speak out are choosing to be persecuted
Mhm.
in so many ways, I guess what I'm saying. And I don't know, it's almost kind of like, in some ways, I wonder if this is a precursor of just really showing really where some of us really are in our faith. We say that I mean, just bear with me, everyone, how I'm trying to say this, that we can say, oh, I won't deny Christ, and I won't, this and that. Now, hear what I'm not saying, and hear what I am saying. I am not saying that like, oh, if I say I'm for Trump, whatnot, or however you want to, whichever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the policies that one would be more toward those who are of faith than the other one. And some people are even afraid to even say that.
Mhm.
Of what, and I get it, why some people may be a little hesitant of putting out a sign in front of their yard, because they're crazies, who would maybe try, depending on where you live and all of that, how they might end up being and targeting. But if someone asks you why, what why would you be afraid to say who you're going to vote for? I mean, I know people say, well, it's a privacy thing. And yeah, of course, that's why when you go in, they have the things where people can't see, who you vote for, all that. I get that. But I guess what I'm saying is that just not being afraid to make a stand for righteousness.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it is going to be maybe a consequence. Probably. It's going to be even more so people with,
Yeah.
I mean, if this administration gets into office,
It
it
will,
just
because
is.
they've already
It's,
tried to silence us last time. And I don't know if you guys have paid attention, like, to Facebook, but there was there was a point where any post that I posted that was Christian, was about God, was about Jesus, back in 2020, usually got taken down. Any post that I posted about Trump got taken down. They're not doing that now, because I believe that Mark Zuckerberg, well, what has been said is that he knows that Trump's going to win. Not saying he's going to win, but the likelihood is that what he's seeing is that he's going to win. But I will tell you, if Kamala gets in there, she has already said, and Hillary Clinton's already said, that they want to silence us. They already tried to do that with the FBI and Twitter. They've already tried to do this. And they've closed our churches. The churches were closed in Democratic states. So, and I know we're not telling you who to vote for, but you really, as a Christian, you really have to look. I mean, it's right there. You just have to open your eyes. And what opened my eyes is when they shut us down. The government went too far. Went way too far.
yes, yes. This, I had somebody tell me today, and this is what flurs me. And this was at the same grocery store that I go to, and the person, they are Christian, they're a believer, but how can I say it? They really believe that they were saying that Trump is going to take away Social Security, which a lot of people live off of, and how that helps them, and that he's going to do away with the Constitution, with democracy.
If he was going to do that, he would have done it the first 4 years he was the president. He would have never left office.
Well, and that's what the person went back to. They went back and said he said it, and then they said, and what about January the 6th when he got upset because of the losing that tried to take over the White House?
And
so
you know, that he caused the insurrection. He didn't cause the insurrection. He told people to go there peacefully and patriotic to protest. Make your voices known.
Right.
It was the Capitol Police, and there's videos out there because they've been released. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has been releasing the January 6th tapes, and you can go to the website and find them and watch them. And it's pretty obvious the Capitol Police opened the gates and let those people in. Yes, some of them were violent, but I believe it's also come to bear that a lot of those violent people were Antifa. They were paid because around the corner from there were stacks of bricks, and they were brought in by the busloads. But, you know, that's not going to get reported on mainstream media. There was also a pipe bomb planted outside of Kamala Harris's vice president office at the DNC. That was not ever reported on CNN or MSNBC. But it's real. And there's video of it. There's a video of a man going with something in his jacket and leaving without something in his jacket outside her office. So there's evidence of that. And January 6th, that was not an insurrection. And in you want to know what an insurrection is Governor Walz, Tim Walz, allowing the riots in his city and burning down a police station. And nobody got prosecuted for that. The BLM riots, that you can consider an insurrection. The Palestine, the Hamas, the college students protesting and taking down the American flag, that is an insurrection. That is an act of war. It's an act of treason. But nothing's been done to them. The only reason that they're attacking January 6ers is because they were for Trump. The only reason. And there are people in prison, and there are people that have been prosecuted, that others for the same offense, you know, just like last, what was it? Monday, we showed you that woman standing outside of Planned Parenthood getting arrested and spending 3.5 years in jail.
Oh, yeah.
When somebody, you know, attacks somebody and steals their purse on the street and they're badly hurt, doesn't get anything. Gets a slap on the wrist and gone. Something's wrong. Something is absolutely wrong. And if you think voting for Kamala and things are going to change in all this violence, there's videos of her out there saying that it's going to get worse. They need to protest. They need the violence to get their point across. Well, that's not what the Constitution says. The Constitution says you can protest peacefully, not with violence. If you break out in violence, then you will be arrested and prosecuted. That's what the law says.
Right.
But she's out there encouraging people to be violent. And if you think that if President Trump wins, if you don't think there's going to be anarchy in this nation, you got another thing coming.
Wow.
The ads are already out there to hire these protesters and pay them. Antifa is all paid actors. They're paying these people $20 a day, $100 a day, and it's all, you know, it's backed by George Soros.
Oh,
He wants
yeah,
to
I've heard of
build
him.
company. He just
Yeah.
wants to destroy this country.
Yeah.
It makes me sick.
Uh, yeah, I've heard of him. I mean, I don't know much about it, but I have heard about him. So, whew,
He's a
okay.
billionaire. He's a billionaire over in Europe somewhere. I think he's in the Netherlands, I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly. Without looking it up. I should know this. But now they the FCC has fast tracked him to buy a company that has 200 radio stations. You think the truth's going to come out of those radio stations now?
Yeah.
And why was it fast tracked? It takes a year to have somebody vetted to purchase radio stations. That's our information. That's our news.
Yeah.
You can't trust the news anymore. You can't.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sad as it is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It fires
Yeah.
me up.
Yeah.
Bunch of lies. This is when we need to put on our pray discerning spirits to know the truth. Because if you don't,
But
you're
even with some people, even if they see it, they still, and that's why. Oh, okay. I'll. Okay, let me finish it. Oh gosh.
Vice presidential candidate as governor closed every single church in Minnesota during COVID, but allowed the Mall of the Americas to stay open so you could have retail therapy.
Right.
Now, I mean, I don't know how much more anti-religious you could be than Tim Walz. But
All right, so a missing piece to all of this is Tim Walz. You're not really hearing about him. And I think this is important because he's going to be the running mate with Kamala Harris. So you would assume that their ideologies would line up. But again, almost nothing from Tim Walz about his faith. He's actually open about it, that he doesn't talk about it a lot. So maybe he's saying he's a Christian. I don't know what he means by faith. There's only really one time that it was heavily publicized. He sort of talked about Christianity by reading a verse from Matthew.
I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew 25:40 talks about the least amongst us you do unto me. I think that's true of most Americans. They simply want order to it. This bill does it. It's funded. It's important people do it, and it lets us keep our dignity about how we treat other people.
And by the way, Muslims exist in America. I'm going to be honest with you. I almost forgot they did because they have not been represented or talked about in any of the election. Everything seems to be about Christianity and sometimes talking about Hindu, since Kamala says she grew up a Baptist and Hindu. The only reason why I remember this as well is because Kamala Harris kicked out a Muslim from her event.
I'm not kicking you out. The venue's kicked you out.
An uncomfortable moment for Dr. Ahmad Ghanem, who was kicked out of the Harris rally at the Royal Oak Theater Monday afternoon with no reason given.
You were already sitting down, and they said, "We're from the campaign. You have to go."
Yeah, so the lady from the campaign came and told me, "Can you follow me?" And I followed her. I thought they are changing my seat or doing something.
This is no longer a conversation. Can we please escort the building, please? Thank you.
Okay.
With the threat of the Secret Service and the Royal Oak Police, Ghanem voluntarily walked out.
Said, "I'm leaving, but I want to know, why are you kicking me out?"
Ghanem should have been known to the Democratic Party. He ran for Congress as a Democrat in the Democratic primary against incumbent Haley Stevens.
Is it because you're a Muslim?
I think so.
Today, we call for an investigation and we call for an apology to Dr. Ahmad Ghanem.
Tuesday in Dearborn, a rally by prominent Muslim leaders are asking the Harris campaign for answers.
You said that this represents something more than just one Muslim being kicked out of a rally. What do you mean by that?
Well, we have seen this repeated pattern of disregard and disrespect.
Let's say, but I actually think is I really do value having a team of very smart.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that's so who is the one who is trying to shut down? Who is, I would say, a people of faith, Christians, believers, when it comes to expressing, and yeah. So the CNN, they touched on, I have to say, Anderson Cooper, he really did press when it came to a lot of things. And he pressed her on the border and how she kept going back to, well, Trump, he built halfway of this and actually more so off of Obama. But then she wouldn't answer. She would go back to her one-liner. I will work with a bill, or how she put it, bipartisan. So she wouldn't, it's just a simple question. But will you continue to work to build something, to finish with the wall? Yes or no? So she did, she danced, tipped around that. And it was just really, yeah.
Well, I heard today that she's flip-flopping on all that again too. So it's like she said,
where's she going back to? What is she saying now?
Well, originally when she was running in 2020, she said she would stop fracking. And then that she saw that she was losing Pennsylvania this election, she said she wouldn't stop fracking. Well, then this week she said she would stop fracking. So
this week?
Yeah. So this week she said it again. So, and then, about the border, closing the border, we'll close it now. You're vice president, right? Close it now. But I don't think Biden's going to do anything for her right now. I mean, because he's not very happy with her. I mean, he comes out and he supports her a little bit. Then he goes behind the scenes and says something that throws her under the bus.
Wow.
It's like, I mean, you're still vice president until January 20th.
Right.
You still have a job to do, but you're not doing anything. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is, voting early, vote now if you can.
Yes.
We actually were able to vote not in person. I mean, we put our ballots in a ballot box Saturday, and because in-person voting starts this Saturday here in California, but they're still saying there's going to be shenanigans on election day.
I won't be surprised.
So we need to get our votes in early so they get counted.
Right.
And they're, to try and circumvent the shenanigans, whatever that's
Right.
going to be.
Right.
Like in 2020, all of a sudden a water main breaks. And there's videos of people pulling containers of ballots out from underneath tables.
Wow.
There's a real video, and it's real.
There's
People
a
are
real
going to say,
video?
well, yeah, there is a video. That movie, what is it? 1,000 Mules, I think, by Dinesh D'Souza. It was about them ballot harvesting and
ballot
and
Okay.
the truckload from New York to Pennsylvania of ballots of dead people. Virginia right now has pulled 1,600 voters off the voter registrations that are legals. They're not citizens. They have no authority to vote.
Wow.
And the Department of Justice, Biden and Harris's Department of Justice are suing them. to put him back on the roster.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
It's like, come on, people. You want more, you want something different. We know what happened during the 4 years of Trump. And yes, he got a lot done, but he didn't get all the things he was done because he had a Congress fighting him all the time, trying to impeach him. They impeached him twice.
Right.
So the importance of, and that's the other thing, the importance of the down ticket. It isn't just Trump.
Yes.
We need a Republican majority in Congress and a Republican majority in the Senate, guys, for Trump to get anything done. If you want more spending and to go further in debt, then vote Kamala Harris, because that's all they know how to do. The Democrats, that's all they know how to do.
Wow.
And then they'll go after us who are trying to speak up and prosecute us. I heard today on the Dan Bongino show, he says, if Kamala Harris wins, you guys better have a good lawyer. All us podcasters that are going against her.
Oh. Wow.
It doesn't scare me. You're not
You know
taking
what?
away my place.
You know what? I could definitely see that. I could definitely see something being put so to set things up for future. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
So,
where it's going.
So I believe if the church got out and voted biblically, values, the policies that lined up with biblical values.
Yes.
Which is mostly Republican. There are some things in the Republican platform that don't line up biblically, but I can tell you that pretty much nothing, 90% of the Democratic platform does not line up with biblical values.
Yeah.
Abortion. And yes, the Republican Party is for abortion too, in the event of rape, incest, or the life of the mother. But the Democrat Party is for abortion at no matter what term. And even if it's a botched abortion, that poor baby is left to die by itself.
Wow.
They want to mutilate kids, which the Republican Party doesn't. They want, the puberty blockers and the transgender surgeries for children. And if the parents don't agree, they're going to take away your rights. They're going to take away your children. That's a fact. That's a fact here in California.
Is that in California? Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is, biological men in women's sports. Women are getting hurt.
Right.
Open borders. They're not vetting anybody. And we saw from the last clip of President Clinton saying that if that man was vetted, Lincoln Riley would still be alive.
Right. Wow.
Now we got Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment buildings in cities. They took over an apartment building in Texas now.
Right.
And the lawlessness in everything, they're recruiting kids in New York. It's bad. And if you want more of chaos, anarchy, no law and order, then vote Democrat. We're getting too close to the election to be nice anymore, to sugarcoat it. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, Kathy, it's just like how he was saying, this is a particular election where no one needs to sit home. And if you are a believer, and even I'm telling you, your vote matters.
Yes.
People, if it didn't matter, they would not be pushing as hard as they are pushing. Both candidates trying to circle around to every 50 state and all the millions on top that they are spending. Your vote does matter. Your vote does count. Don't be deceived and think, well, they're going to put whoever they want to put in and all of that. No, there is still democracy, and there is still when it comes you know, not how am I trying to say it? There is things have not gotten to where they could be. So I'm just saying, don't stay home. Please get out. There's early voting. Get out and vote.
Right. Yeah, because we need every Christian to get out there and vote, and please vote biblical values. This is so important.
Yes, yes.
You know, if you think the last 3.5 years have been bad, double that, triple that if Kamala wins. Because, you know, she's flip-flopping on that, where she said she wouldn't do anything different. Well, now she says, well, I will be president, not Biden. Well, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Can you please tell me what that means? So the other, you know, and the other thing that she wants to do, so, you know, Trump wants to raise tariffs on imported goods, especially from China.
Right.
Bring back manufacturing here in the United States. That's the purpose of it. He wants to lower taxes, and they're claiming that it's only for the rich. Well, the thing is he wants to lower taxes for everybody. And I know I felt it in my paycheck, you know, that we had lower taxes. So, but then again, if he lowers taxes for the corporations then in turn can pay their employees more. Hello?
Wow.
Well, thank you for letting us know, Connie, because that
Yes.
gives us that we're
That's
not just out here.
encouraging.
Yeah, that we're just not out here talking to thin air.
Exactly.
and not getting through to people.
Wow, that is really
the other thing too is she wants this is a kicker. So she wants to tax unrealized gain. So what that means is you buy a house, say you buy it for $300,000. In a year, it increases in value $100,000. So that $100,000, she wants you to pay taxes on the $100,000, even though you haven't sold it. So, and the unrealized tax is 25%. So you got to pay 25% out of your paycheck to taxes on money you haven't even made. Then the next year, for some reason, the house value drops $50,000. Do you get half of that $25,000 back? No. So that taxes on unrealized gain is going to kill the housing market. It will kill the stock market.
Oh,
wow. Because the unrealized gain is also on what you gain in the stock market. And we all know how volatile the stock market is.
Right.
So really pay attention to what she's not saying publicly, because she's not saying it at her rallies. She's not saying it at her interviews, but go to her KamalaHarris.org or .com and read her platform if you want to know what she's about.
Right. Let's see. I thought so. Just go to her site, or and they get that information.
Yeah. Here, it's Kamala Harris. .org. I'll put it in the chat. No, it's .com. Sorry.
Okay, what is it called? I'm
It's
sorry.
KamalaHarris.com.
Oh, it's
Here,
on
I'll
her.
put it in the chat. And you'll have to copy it and put it in your chat.
Okay, let me copy it. Okay, so, but Kathy, it's already showing up in the chat.
Yeah, on our side, but it's not showing up on your Real Talk. It's not showing up.
It's not.
No.
You mean in the comment section?
In the comment section on your YouTube page, it's not showing up.
Okay.
So you got to copy it and put it back into yours.
Oh.
It shows in my
Okay.
comments on my channel, but it doesn't show up on yours.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm just trying to. Okay, let me see. Okay, did I do it right? Yeah. Okay. Let me take that down. So I would have to agree with, and Connie, thank you so much for what you said. It is really encouraging. Thank you. So
Yeah, she says that she's really had a battle listening to 3 more podcasts and everyone's on a different page. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
I can say that it's hard.
That is.
So get your votes in. It's really important. Is there any questions?
Yes. Is
before
there
we
any
end?
questions? Let me go back up. And let me see. I don't, Kathy, see any questions.
Okay.
Let me just make sure. Okay, I don't. So everyone, that was what our special edition today was about, the CNN debacle town hall interview. And this was pretty much like her real last chance to be on a platform that was going to be friendly to her and help her along the way, and she still was not able to make it clear and deliver, even with all that support. So
Yeah. And be ready. I mean, we still got a week and a half to the election, that there won't be some surprises and something to come out about Trump that isn't true.
Right.
They're going to try and pull something.
Yeah, in desperation. But you know what?
Yeah.
I once heard someone say, one with God is the majority.
That's right.
and I was like, I had to hear that from again, one with God, you are with the majority.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter. We need to continue to pray for this election. But my advice would be, I'm thinking if I was with advice to President Trump, I would say keep on your message.
Absolutely.
Keep
Because
on your message.
he is a man of the people. He really is.
Yes. Yes. So so that's what I would say to him.
Well, tune in tomorrow night for Faith and Freedom Fridays for another good show. And, and if you have anything you want us to talk about tomorrow night, just let us know.
And tomorrow it's going to be a little special because we're going to have 2 guests on.
Yes, we are. Awesome.
Yes, so we are going to have 2 guests on. So that's going to be nice, to have. So we'll just leave it at that. We will be having 2 guests on. So we want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you so much. We know it's late and it's a different timing than what we typical, but we wanted to keep consistent. And like I said, we're going to, as time gets closer, we're just, we might go the day of if it's a big thing. It just all depends. So, but
be sure to be sure to subscribe to both of our channels. And because sometimes LaTanya will go on without me, and sometimes I'll go on without her. And just so you can be informed. So we appreciate you all. Thanks so much, and tune in tomorrow night.
Yes.
God bless you all.
Have a good evening, everyone. God bless. Shalom. Okay. Here we go.